Yes.
The world wants to know all about Scorch, the fire breather. Nick Spinelli played Scorch, the fire breather on the Greatest Freakshow, which premieres this weekend in our Morristown location, as well as will be premiering on Escape Stream in 2 weeks. So we'll be live for that. And one of the main characters you're going to want to see is Scorch, the fire breather. So one of the coolest parts of Scorch, Chris, why don't you come join us in a view?
I'm having breakfast right now.
Chris is having breakfast right now. Chris engineered some of the coolest lighting effects I've seen for Scorch, the fire breather. And you'll be able to see that live in his trailer when you come participate. Oh, there's Chris. You can see him in the shot back there in the corner.
I think I can multitask here.
Yeah. Welcome, Chris, to Puzzle Talk. No one's actually ever seen Chris on Puzzle Talk yet.
And no one will ever again. Because I work on Mondays.
That's what they all say.
Except when I'm on vacation here.
Beyond that, Scorch as a character had some interesting elements we needed to work with, called fire. Immediately it was like, we're doing a freak show. There's got to be a fire breather. How do we do that indoors? Originally, we were planning on actually doing a green screen outside and having Nick in front of the green screen, shoot it, and then impose him on the stage later in post-production. Problem was, matching that lighting was going to be an absolute nightmare.
I think that was the first conversation we had of what we were going to do with Scorch's room.
Yeah.
And it started off with looking at like high-end Disney effects of using heat cannons. So it's basically like a potato cannon you supercharge with some hot air, and then you just let the valve out, and you feel like you just got hit by a blast of fire. It's like a $10,000 device, of course we can make, but do you want to? Air conditioning's expensive enough. Do you really want to pay for all that heat? So what led us to next was obviously finding some type of lighting effect that can kind of compensate for the fire. So that you have to use multiple different colors of like reds, a lot of yellows and oranges, going on like kind of like a random pattern so it actually looks like fire.
Like flicker. Yeah. Yep.
Now if you go on like the Small World ride in Disney, when they did the original fire effects, what they did was, instead of using real fire, they used something close enough to it. So they used a particle, and they basically used steam, and they would backlight the steam. So for ours, we're not using steam. We're using an ultrasonic, basically particle generator, which is going to create a cold steam. So it'll be a light mist. It's what they use for like reptile cages.
This way we don't set off all the fire alarms and smoke detectors in the building.
We'll backlight that. So we'll have lights in the ceiling coming through holes, and then when you get to the end, you'll see this really cool fire effect that the first couple looks at it, you're going to actually think it's real fire, and you're going to go touch it, and it's going to move like real fire, like you're actually touching it, but hopefully you won't get burnt.
Yeah, this is some sick stuff we got into on this one. I don't think anything we could have said about even the performance stuff would have sold it more than Nick's, or Nick's fire breathing would have sold it more than Chris's description of the lighting and fire effects. But Nick does some cool stuff too. On the stage, we were able to do some controlled fire effects. And there is one hell of a blowtorch out of his mouth moment. I'm not telling you when, but there's a moment where, I mean, it's a blast. Beyond that, Nick Spinelli, who played Scorch the Fire Breather, immensely talented dude. He has his own number that he sings in the show, and then he has his performance stuff. There's moments in his performance when Mike and I were in the room and Mike was filming that I was cracking up. I had to keep getting up and leaving because Nick was so damn funny in his portrayal on stage. The little things he'd do, I mean, you can see in the photo Nick's bald. So there's a moment where he like does a little trick and effect and he's basically like, like swishing his hair back, and obviously he's bald. Incredibly talented guy, real fire breather. As well as some other oddity talents that he performs. In Freak Show, he sticks to the fire. But there's some other things he is capable and good at. And again, very fun voice to hear, to listen to when he does his number. And combining his performance, his characterization, and then the effects of his room and the trailer in the game that he occupies, really puts on a show. Really puts on a show. My two favorite moments in the whole entire show are the moments with Scorch and the moments with Slice. Slice has my favorite song in the entire show, but it's really amazing. I hope you guys will come check it. And we hope you'll join us next time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't below. Like, comment, subscribe. And